Good morning, Tony Dattino here on Wednesday, May the 17th, and the days are going by so quickly. Wanting to talk today about, are we ever too old to be able to learn new skills? And why is it that people think as we get older, it gets harder to learn new things? So I've had several conversations in the past week with people that are in my age group that are just having a lot of fun and realizing that the more that they continue to engage in lifelong learning, the more fun they're having, and it actually gets easier to continue to learn new skills and build new things. Now, the question is why? Well, first of all, as learning takes place, we grow these new links and connections. They're like the roots of the tree system. So I always think of it as like the roots of the tree system. And the more we water those roots in a tree and we see those roots continue to get long, and sometimes they lift up pavement, which is not always the best thing for them to do. But our brains are working the same way, meaning the more we water or feed our brains with lifelong learning opportunities, meaning we learn something new on a regular basis, and I don't mean regular every day. I mean, if it's once a month and you took an hour to say, let me go try to learn a new skill. Maybe I want to fix something. Maybe I've got a plumbing problem, and let me see if I can figure out how to do it. Yesterday I was on Google, and I was Googling out. I've watched a neighbor engineering friend of ours go on Google, and he raises these questions, and so I was on Google asking questions yesterday about the situation I had to address and deal with. And here it was, Google giving me options and answers, which was just wonderful that I could put these questions in, and here comes answers. Now, I have to test these answers with the experience that I then have, but there was a guidance of how to fix a washing machine. And so how do you fix a washing machine that all of a sudden has stopped working? And so in Google, it started out with the first thing is, do you have any clogged hoses? And you say, well, gee, the washing machine doesn't work and the hoses are blocked? And yet that was their first thing. And so how do you fix that? Well, now it becomes a different issue. Do you have the right tools? And the short story is we eventually needed to get a mechanic in for washing machines, and sure enough, the first thing he checked were the hoses, and sure enough, there was a faulty valve in the hose. It shut the hot water from coming in, which then caused the machine not to spin or agitate. There were several other suggestions on there, but my point is God, taking the initiative for me to go onto Google and ask the question basically was a whole new experience for me. And actually having the technician come in and confirm what my sequence was reassuring to say, gee, maybe there is, you can teach an old dog new tricks, and it's not too late for me to learn some new hand skills. I've grown up, right, not always feeling that I have the skills and the dexterity to even hammer a nail in or turn a screw in the right direction. And maybe there is hope for me. I've always focused on the mental aspects and the creativity and the ability to teach people things on how to improve their mental fitness and health. Well, in this April Mind, Mood, and Memory newsletter, I keep wanting to come back to this. It talks about how being a lifelong learner reinforces memories. So what happens is our brains we are now finding research that says our brains are having new neurons and new activities that are taking place throughout our life. And it goes through a periodic pruning stage, meaning if we make links, connections, and associations with them, it builds those lens, those roots into your brain, and it continues to keep those roots alive and active. If we go into a passive mode where we're not expanding our learning, or we're not learning new things, or we're not doing things that grow those roots, then the brain starts to atrophy. And so they're even making some links on how you continue to learn. It sharpens your thinking skills and certainly keeps your mood in a vibrant, excited, enthusiastic way of how do we continue to learn. And so it's been amazing in terms of what the research has shown. So let me just read this here. The simple act of learning new and challenging information can be enough to stimulate the brain to support stronger memories and sharper thinking skills. Research suggests that lifelong learning contributes to the birth of new neurons and supports healthy brain connectivity. And this is what I've been saying to people, a New Year's resolution should be, what is something that might be fun that I would enjoy learning about? And so for me, it's always, well, what more can I learn about the brain? Now that's all fun and I'm making new connections, but can I take that and read a book or get a magazine and continue to grow the roots of what I can learn that I can then teach to people about their own personal health? Numerous studies in recent years have demonstrated that the kind of cognitive stimulation associated with lifelong learning promotes neuroplasticity, which is essentially the brain's ability to reorganize itself and respond to changes, including those associated with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. So what is that telling us? It's saying like, wow, there is a known research source. It's not a secret source, and it's not a magical source, but we now know that there are things that we can do that help us build a reserve of mental function, which in some cases may minimize or reduce our risk of dementia and or Alzheimer's, and give us a level of excitement and enthusiasm in expanding our life expectancies. It's like, whoa, this stuff, when you share with people, they look at it like, God, you're some kind of space cadet. Can we really do this thing? And I say the first thing we have to go back and reevaluate is, where have we learned these things? Where have we found or thought that getting older means, we just fade into the sunset and wait till we die? Where is it said that when we get older, we can't learn new things? And this is a fun one for me, where is it said that the older we get, the harder it is to learn anything new? If the fundamentals of learning are how we associate, link, and connect to things we know, and then add things we learn that are new, if that's the brain's formula for memory and comprehension and learning, applying new activities in our life, then as we get older, don't we have more links and connections as long as we've continued to keep those fed and we continue to water them? Then if that's how the brain works, then wouldn't it be logical to think that the more we learn, the easier it gets to learn more? Now, whoever thinks that way? Well, I've met this gentleman. I've worked with him now for 15 years. His name is Jim Carroll. That's K-A-R-O-L. And the more I work and watch Jim, he should be a national science study, because Jim is demonstrating exactly what I just said, which is the more he is learning, and his excitement and his exhaustive desire to learn more, the easier it is for him to continue to learn more and grow new branches, connections. And he's got this matrix that he sets up that he then has expanded. And it's just been a simple process. He hasn't had to do what I call work at this and work at it. It's a matter of just applying that which he's learned and continue to grow and expand, watering those neurons and those nerve endings and fibers. A study published in Neurology suggests that continual learning over a lifetime protects the brain and boosts your cognitive reserve. And one of the easiest ways that I am finding that builds on social interaction as well is go find some people and sit around and just talk to them about what they've done, or maybe ask somebody to come help and teach you something about how to fix a faucet or how to fix something in a car, how to maybe sew something, how to put a thread, or how do you sew a button onto a shirt. Just having people help people is really what I think it's all about. And therefore, it's possible for all of us. We're never too old. There's hope for all of us, as I like to say to people. And just believing in the principles of, the older I get, boy, I want to keep watering these plants. I want to keep watering these flowers that I call my thinking and creativity and memories. And as long as you keep watering those, they're going to still stay as vibrant as you can possibly make them. And we have scientists even looking to extend life expectancy. So you certainly want to have this mental function going on as they search out how do we get people to live longer, which we see more and more are, but we all want to maintain mental functions. That's my Wednesday broadcast. I'm back out here on Friday. I am not back here on Friday. I am off to AJ Latino's graduation at the New College of Florida on Friday. So I will not be here on Friday. So we'll see you next Monday. Have a good weekend. And I hope we have a good graduation without any rainstorms, because it's going to be outdoors on the Gulf of Mexico.